Uh-oh, spaghetti-o. And looks like I need to install a light fixture right there. And lucky for you, I've got one. And I'm going to install this. And those things, what is that? Well, that light is going to look like that one. If you want to watch that, stick around and I'll show you how. Now, before we look at that, let's look at our light fixture real quick. And this is it. Here's the mounting bracket for it. And the two little screws on the side coincide with these two little screws. You can install this vertical, horizontal, or even at an angle like I did down at the stairs. And this one happens to have two whites, two blacks, and a ground wire. Okay? And we're simply going to hook that up to the white wires. I happen to have two whites, two blacks. There's two blacks up there, and a ground wire. Okay? Sounds easy enough, don't you think? You don't have to be an electrician to do this, even if you've never done any electrical ever in your entire life. Okay? I'll show you step by step. We can do this. Now, most of the time, all I normally ever do is turn the light switch off, and this one happens to be attached to that light, and it's on a three-way light switch, and it's not on because I found out which electrical breaker it was in the panel, in the sub panel, and so I turned it off there. But you could also turn it off there. You could also test it with some wire testers, all kinds of good stuff. Okay, so I know there's no power up in that light. Okay, and so I've got a ground wire. Used to have a wall sconce up here from before. I took it down because I painted. It's always good whenever you paint walls and stuff, is to remove your light fixtures and ceiling fans and all kinds of stuff like that. And that's what I've done here. I'm just going to straighten out this wire and rearrange this so I can push it back into the box first, because I always like to hook up that first. And the first thing I noticed, these wires certainly are close to the wall there. Man, I think I can barely hook this one, but if you've watched before on any other light fixtures, as a matter of fact, I just recently installed this light fixture right there, and I put that on video, and I had the same issue with the wires. The wires barely stuck out, and I ended up putting some pigtails on that. So if you want to watch that, I'll show you how to put pigtails on that light fixture that I installed. If you can't find it, go to my YouTube main channel page, click on playlists, go down to click on playlist, scroll down to everything electrical or electrical know-how or something like that. But on this particular one, I have a feeling I can barely hook it up to that without needing a pigtail. We'll see. We'll see. I've got the mounting screws. This is a plastic box. The box is indentated about 1/8 of an inch and almost 1/4 inch over there. So they give you mounting screws. This particular light fixture, well, most light fixtures give you mounting screws. Here's my mounting screw. Okay, it's just regular threads, machine threads, and it's designed to tighten up in that plastic box. I'm not going to use those. I'm going to use those for something else. I'm going to find my drywall screws. And usually I carry around drywall screws. See here, I got 1¼ inch, 1 5/8. These are coarse threaded, and I'm going to use the 1 5/8. And yes, they will go right into a plastic box. Let's see, I'm just going to take that and I'm going to use the associated screws, and I'm going to look at my fixture again and see that it's going vertical. I'm going to put this one vertical instead of horizontal. The screws are on the side, so that means I got to install this on the side that way rather than that way. Okay, so the screws are on the side. My ground wire is facing down, so I'll put the ground screw down at the bottom. I don't necessarily have to put the ground screw down at the bottom, but I think I'm going to this time. And I'm just going to get my screws in here. Yeah, into a plastic box. Drywall. Coarse threaded screws will work. And I think you saw on there it had a ground screw on the box. So it's like, okay, how am I going to do that? I'll show you here in a minute. I'm gonna eyeball that for right now, and I happen to have a level, and so I'm gonna get this stuff out of the way. I'm gonna grab my level because I want that pretty much level. Okay, so I can hold my level on there. Wow, that's way off. Okay. Man, I didn't think my eyeball was that bad. Look at that. Almost right on. And I want to get it as straight as I can because it's going up vertical. So once I install it, I want that thing to look straight. Worst case scenario, if it doesn't appear to be straight to you when you get all done, you're going to have to pull it down if you feel like you need to get that thing straight. Okay. Okay, that looks pretty A-okay. Almost. That looks good. Making that snug so it can't move around. Okay, so this wire nut is just barely long enough. I believe I can get it with that. I've got the ground screw there and the ground wire. You see that ground screw on the mounting bracket that I just installed. See right there? Well, I'm not gonna install that ground wire to there. This light fixture gives me 3 screws, or 3 wire nuts, and you see 2 of those wire nuts I'm not going to use because since we have some yellow wire nuts up there, I'm going to use those yellow wire nuts, okay, because I've got 2 wires up there. If I only had 1 white wire and 1 black wire, I would use these orange wire nuts, but these orange wire nuts are too small. And I believe the yellows will be fine. And I'm going to hook that up next. See, it's not going to take us very long to get this done. Okay. Now see here on the back, this ground wire is attached down here. So once I get that attached, this whole thing's going to hold up there. Okay. And oh, I got to do one more thing before I get that up there. Well, I can do that late. I can do that when I get it up. Okay, I'll show you. because I got 2 black wires, 2 white wires here, I'm going to have to connect those together. And see, I'm going to take this whole thing and I'm just going to wrap it around here, this ground screw, giving myself enough to lift this up and enough to attach this to the ground, the other ground screw in there with the ground wire. Okay. So that's attached to the metal plate. I can gently let that sit there, and I can attach this to the ground wire with my orange screw, and I can push that back into the box. Make sure I've got it. Push that in there, fish it down in there, and presto. Keep your fingers off of the wall the best you can. Now these, I don't necessarily have to push them into this because there's this big cavity on the back side of the light fixture. Okay, so I don't think I'm going to. The next thing we got to do is I attach those white wires together and the black wires. And I've stripped them back just a little bit more than how it came, and I just put it, I've already twisted this, the stranded wires I twist all together, and I just kind of make an X, and then I twist these together. Okay, that way I'm assured that once this attaches, both of these black wires are together like that. Do the same with the white. I don't want to just put 2 white wires up there onto the wire nut and then you got a possible chance of one of those wires coming loose. Okay. Okay, just like that. White to white, black to black. Are we set to go on that thing? I think we are. Well, most of the time I try to keep this from rubbing on here back and forth. If you have flat paint on your wall and this rubs, you could put a mark on the wall. These walls were recently painted, eggshell, so it's got an eggshell finish, so even if this slides a little bit, I don't think anything's going to happen. Okay, and I'm gonna, wow, that's pretty tight there, huh? Okay. Gonna undo these black wires, and those are close. And this wire here is not stripped back very far. I think I'm gonna strip it just a little more. Even a little bit more than that. Okay. That's better. It's not coming out as far as this other one. And I don't think I want to cut it. I just want to reposition it a little bit, if I can. There, just like that. I'm going to put my stranded wire up to it, like that, and connect them all. Have I showed you anything hard yet? I don't think so. And these wire nuts have a little ear to them, but I'm going to just give it a little twizzle here, if I can. Okay. I'm going to pull on the black, and it looks fine. Okay, see that is just gonna set right like that. Okay, that's all. See, I didn't need to put pigtails, so if I don't need to put pigtails, I won't do it. See, usually you're supposed to have wires sticking out of a wall 6 inches, but they don't. The white wires stick out about 3 inches. The other one was about 1.5 inches. And some people frown on using the existing wire nuts, but hey, they still look like they're in pretty good shape, and so I'm going to use them. Okay. Okay, that one's tight, and there, that's all I got to do. Okay, now I'm ready to mount that up there with the mounting screws. See, there's plenty of room to get that up there with those wire nuts sticking out of the wall. Plenty. Now, there might be slight adjustment on there, maybe, but not really. And see, not all walls are perfectly flat. Might be a bump out where your light fixture is, or what have you. You want to get it as snug as you can. That. And man, it almost looks like, see, I did that straight. This here almost looks slightly crooked. I don't know how that happened. This here, so it almost looks like I'm going to have to undo this and slide the mounting bracket over. Because when they got it from the factory, there's a nut on the back of that they tightened up, and I could probably loosen it and straighten this out a little bit. I might do that. Silly thing. It's not that far off, but it's a little. Let's see, there is a nut back there. Oh, I'm not sure if I want to do that, or I could just loosen this up and slide this up just a hair. Let's say. Like that. Try that. For kicks. I'm looking at that. Well, I gotta get the screws in first. Oh, that looks pretty good. That looks pretty A-okay. After getting the level out and everything. I guess I could have looked at that first, but this should be straight coming from the factory. It was slightly off. Just ever so slightly. Okay, that looks good right there. Okay, see how this thing is kind of wiggly? There's nothing I can do about that because I've got the bracket. I've got the bracket tight to the wall. The other mounting bracket was tight to the wall. You saw that. And it's just, however the sheetrock is on there, might have a dipsy doodle on it or what have you. But hey, once I get it up there, it's going to be fine. Okay, that's pretty much all you got to do. See there? See, it almost, yeah, I think I'm going to fix that. See, I got this straight, but this, when I look at it, that's crooked. Okay, so I'm going to take that apart and I'm going to straighten that out, put it all back together. Now that you know how to do it, I'll show you what it looks like in a minute. Okay, I'm liking that better. And I undid the nut. There's a nut on the back side of that in there. Boy, that was pretty tough too. So I loosened it up, just barely, repositioned this, tightened it almost as tight as it was before, and then worst case scenario, if this is slightly off, when I get done installing it, I could grab this right here and just tweak it ever so little one way or another, because that nut is almost really super tight, but I made it just a hair loose, but still snug enough so that it's not going to twist or anything. And because this is like polished chrome, I'm just going to wipe off my fingerprints on there and stuff as carefully as I can before I put up these glass containers. And these things are heavy. These right here, and boy, and I'm going to leave the little plastic bag around it. That way I don't get my hands on it. But see, there's threads. There's threads on there, see? Now those little holes don't mean anything for this particular application. So I'm just going to get back up there and screw this bad boy in. And if you get your fingers on it, you can wipe this off later. You know, they're fine threads, so you just have to be careful, hold your mouth just right to get it. If it doesn't seem like it's going, take it off. You don't want to start cross-threading it. Okay. And man, it seems kind of hard, but I believe it's in. Yeah, it's in. Okay. Well, it's kind of hard to twist this with this plastic bag on. Okay, it's going. There it goes. Just make it snug, don't overdo it. Okay, now I gotta get the other one. Good grief, these things are heavy. And the little LED lights are in the top and the bottom of that, and those are not designed. It's not like a little bulb that you can get at the hardware store later on. It's a whole thing. I'm going to get you up there and have you see that here. I'm just going to take you off the tripod. See? All those little yellow things are lights, believe it or not, all the way around. Isn't that something? And see, there's a couple little screws in there. And so I think that can be replaced if need be. Now, I'm not quite sure about that. Don't hold me to that. If this type of light fixture ever burns out, because this is LED style, and on these particular lights, it had that same type of application inside of here. But, you know, make sure you save your direction sheet and stuff. And I saved it. I put it down in here. I put it in this bag here. I've got the direction sheets and owner's manuals for the ceiling fans I installed. And then for your light fixtures, you want to save that direction sheet. It's got the phone number on there in case you need to order anything or if you have any questions about anything. And you want to save that, okay? In case they ever burn out. Because if it burns out, you can't just go to the store and get a little light bulb to replace it, you know what I mean? And these things will probably, who knows, they might even outlast you life-wise. I don't know. I know they should last at least 10 years, probably even more than that. Because let's face it, you're not going to have these lights on 24 hours a day either, right? We got these out in the hallway, and we're going to use it kind of for ambiance. There used to be a wall sconce here, just for low-level lighting, and that was fine because on the wall sconces they had like a little 40-watt or 25-watt light bulb on it. They didn't have any dimmers on it, and believe it or not, these LEDs are dimmable. You believe that? Yeah, they are dimmable. If you watch the rest of this video, I'll show you. Oh, come on. Oh, there we go. I thought it wasn't going to tighten up. Voila. I'll show you that they dim. Now that's looking mighty nice and straight too. That's the hardest thing about these, to get it perfectly vertical or perfectly horizontal. I was having a hard time with these over here, getting it perfectly horizontal. You know, but you play with it and stuff, and you'll get to it. And so I'm gonna put a dimmer switch on here and stuff. Okay, just hang on. The video's not done. I still got a couple things to tell you. I'm gonna turn the power back on now, and I'll be right back, because this particular time I turned the power off at the electrical breaker instead of just turning the power off at a light switch, okay? So I'll be right back and we'll try it out for the very first time. Oh, Mommy's going to exercise. That's what that noise, that whining noise is. Garage door's going up. Okay, I have not turned this on yet. You see what I see for the very first time. Here we go. Alrighty, look at that. I kind of like that. I much like that, as a matter of fact. And you see, isn't that look pretty? Pretty? I'm so pretty. Okay. And like I say, you can install those horizontally or you can install them vertically. I decided to install this one vertically because it was on kind of a higher wall, and if I would have installed it horizontally, it would have been kind of close to this outside edge. And for the fact is, right here where the washer and dryer is, we had two other wall sconces over here, and I decided to make those horizontal, and I thought, hey, let's put this one vertical, and we'll put this one vertical. And this one happens to go on down with the different light switch. Let's see, that's there. And then I put another one of these down the stairs because there happened to be another wall sconce down there. And I thought, hey, that'll be perfect. I'll just put it at an angle instead of vertical or horizontal. Let's make that one at an angle. Okay? And now I told you, now see, at night, I just want these for night lights, basically, because we got the master bedroom in there, we've got a guest bedroom in there, And more times than not, you know, late at night before we go to bed, it would be nice just to have these lights on. And so I put a dimmer switch. I put that on my YouTube channel, showing you how to install a dimmer switch and to let you know that yes, in fact, these are dimmable. And so here we go. We're gonna turn this on. So see, that's high right there. And look how low these will dim. Look at that. They dim to hardly anything. See? So at night, I thought it would be really nice just to have them dimmed like that. You know? Just for some night light activity, and have this kind of like that instead of really super bright. We don't, no need to have this up so bright like that, but during the day or something, if you really need to have it lit up here, you can have it up high, you know, but more times than not, these are going to be down low. And so what I'm going to, okay, so I just turned it off. What I'm going to do is I'm going to put a dimmer here, because see, this one, and I have to get the right one, because this is a three-way light switch to the second switch over there to the far left, and that turns this and that off. See? And you can turn it on and off over there. So that tells me it's a three-way light switch. So when I go to the store to get a dimmable light switch dimmer, however you want to call it, I'm going to get a three-way light switch. And see, at night, this is lit up. See how it's orange right there? At night, you can see those. And I'm thinking about putting a three-way dimmer switch here and a lit three-way dimmer switch. Now, on single gang dimmer switches, you can get the lit one. See this here? At night, that little light stays on. It doesn't light up this whole square, kind of like this one over here. See, this has a bigger round light there, but most of this lights up. But on this particular dimmer switch over here, there's only that one little thing right there. So at night, you can see that. See? So maybe if they have one at the store, I'll get one and put there. A three-way dimmable night light. Your three-way dimmable light switch with a lit, I guess you'd call it a lit three-way dimmable light switch. So that late at night, if we're in the bedroom, we want to come out here for something and we want to hit these lights on for something, we can, we'll see where the light is. We don't have to kind of mess around and look for it. Now on some dimmer switches too, see this one here, it's off all the way down, and then I can feel just a definite little click right there, and now it's on low. Well, a lot of times when you turn one of these off, if you don't turn it off all the way, you might think, oh, okay, I got it off. But you don't. You still have power to it until you push it down. They have some with a little small paddle, kind of like that type of paddle right there. In fact, I happen to have one in this other room, this bathroom. I still have to do. Oh no, this one doesn't. Okay, I thought it did. Okay, there's one by the front door. I'll just take you down there for a second, just so you can see what it looks like, because you might want that. You might want that down here. Okay. You see here, same type of dimmable one. This is a three-way here, and you've got on, off, and then dim. So when you dim it down like that, you know it's still on until you actually have to hit it off. Now this one isn't lit, but it's a three-way, and in fact, that's supposed to be a four-way. And I might even be able to use that on one of my other three-ways, possibly. Okay, because see, the other one's going up the stairs, that's a three-way, and it turns those two on up to that other light switch. Now, at night, I might decide to put a lit three-way dimmer switch here, if I can find them at the store. If not, I'll just put a three-way dimmable light switch there. And look what I did. Before I knew that they were dimmable, I thought, hey, you know, we've got gray around here and stuff. I just put some duct tape at the ends of this because going up the stairs, I didn't want to see right into that, or coming down the stairs, have that lit shining right in your eyes, because that can get pretty bright. I mean, look how bright this is. Let's look at this one. Let's look at this one here. You see how bright that bottom is? Look at that. And when you're going up and down the stairs, you don't want that shining in your eyes. So see, I actually put duct tape on the end of that one too, at that end. That was kind of a pain to get those on there and cut it off and stuff. That was before I realized that these were dimmable. Okay, so we didn't want to go overboard. We didn't want to put rectangular ones. I could have put a rectangular one there and a rectangular one there, but my word, that would have looked too samey. So we kind of broke it up with the cylinder type here that matched the same series as these, you know. And so I quite like that. And see, now we've got to find something for the bathroom here, for above here. And I told Momi, I said, we could put another one of these up there if you want. It gives out plenty of light. It would look good up there. But the mere fact that we've got 3 of these rectangular ones in this short distance here, and we've got 2 samey ones, the round ones, the cylinder ones. I didn't want to go overboard and do the same thing here. So we're going to try to find something else for that. And once we do, before I install it, I'll make a video of it. Okay, well, that's it for this project. And yes, you see, you don't have to be anything but average to install these. I'm just an average Joe, okay? If I can do it, you can do it. And hopefully, here's another thing too that I wanted to tell you. Hopefully you enjoy my videos. Hopefully you get some inspiration. You get a little bit more information than maybe you were planning on getting. I figure the more I talk, the more you learn. Some people think I talk too much. Some people say, hey, just get on with it, Joe. I just want to know how to do this or that, and you don't have to talk. You're exasperating me. You're making me dizzy with all of the information you're trying to tell me. Just do the work. And you know, hey, you get that with some people, but with me, most of the time, I'm going to explain things and I'm going to show you things. And even if you just wanted to learn how to hook up the electrical, maybe I touch on a couple other things having to do with the 3-way dimmable light switches, or the single pole dimmable light switches for these particular lights. And maybe you didn't know that before. So in any case, thank you for watching this video, and hope that you're a subscriber of mine. If you're not, I would very much appreciate your subscription. And well, that's all I got for this time. But I'll be back with more videos, and I have no idea what I'm going to talk about next time. You're just going to have to keep watching to find out. Well, now here's one other thing that I do when I get done with a project. Whatever I don't use, I try to save. Now see, I've got two wire nuts, the orange ones. I save those. Don't throw those away. Here's my 2 mounting screws. I might need those for another light fixture, or for a different project that has nothing to do with light fixture, or I need to use this to install into a metal box. Maybe the screw's too long and it's small enough to where I can cut it or something. Don't throw those away. So I've got a special place for all my incidentals, and then if I ever need them, I got them. Oh, now that I got everything cleaned up and all, I knew there was another thing I was going to tell you. If you wanted these lights to match, okay, see this This is just a regular floodlight, and you see all these other LEDs are that bright white color, okay? Even these in here. Okay, so I was telling Momi, I says, hey, if you want that changed so that when we turn this on and off, it's a white rather than the warm white, I can get that bulb changed. I can get a LED that's a white one rather than the warm white. I can get a cool white. And I think they have, I'm pretty sure they have 2 different colors on the LEDs. I know they do. They did on the CFLs, the compact fluorescent bulbs, when they came out. And I believe the LEDs, yeah, you have warm white and you have cool white. Look for a cool white bulb, and then you could get it this same color. So that when you turn it on and off, it's the same color. Or when I dim these, when I put the dimmer switch in, the 3-way dimmer switch, that light will be the same as this. So I mentioned that to Momi, and she's like, no, I like the warm white. Go figure, right? But I'm just telling you, in case you want to change out one of your floods to this type of light right here, you can. Well, what am I going to talk about next time? Well, Slinger. It's a Fanimation ceiling fan. Look at this big monster. It's got 9 blades on it. 72-inch ceiling fan. I've got an extension on it, and I've got to figure out how to get that up there. I've got an 8-foot ladder, and I'm pretty sure I can reach it with the 8-foot ladder. However, it's above the bed. Look where it is in relationship to the bed, straight up and right down about there. I've got to figure out how to get that up. Momi's been pestering me to get that ceiling fan installed, and I've been doing the easy ceiling fans and some light fixtures and some other stuff. And now it's going to be time to tackle this big dog. I wonder how I'm going to do it. Well, what do we have here? We got 2 pieces of galvanized flashing sheet metal, 26 gauge sheet metal. If you want to know how to mark that, how to cut it, how to install it, stick around. Yeah, for some reason this is one of those small little projects I've been dreading. I'm not sure why. I should have got this done a long time ago. Okay, what do we got here? Oh, that's where the heating and air conditioning unit is. And when we moved into this condo, we had an air conditioning guy look at this unit here for us. We already replaced the condensate pump. That condensate pump, when this fills up with water and it drips, there was no place to run the drain. Initially, when they installed this years ago, they could have done something, but they decided, they had a bright idea. They thought, oh, we'll just put a condensate pump in here. The water comes out of that, goes into here. There's a little flapper on there, and see this tube here goes up, and they've got the condensate pump reached all the way around over in here, and it's plugged in over here, and then the condensate pumps it up through this pipe, ka-doink, up on the roof. Goes up on the roof and drips down into the gutter and all that kind of stuff. And while he was here, he said this area here, this is where your gas is when it fires up. This is a gas one. And he said, you really need to have a piece of flashing coming out here. And I said, well, how far? 18 by 18, he thought. Okay, and that just kind of protects your wood. Is anything ever going to happen? Probably not. This condo's 15 years old. This thing's been pumping for 15 years. Has it ever caught on fire? No. Has this ever been scorched? No. But he told me that that's the best thing to do, so I thought, okay, fine, I can do that. I wasn't going to pay him to go to the store and get it and charge me $95 an hour and come back here for 2 hours worth of work to install some galvanized flashing that I can install myself. So kaboom, I thought, where am I going to go to get this flashing? I just went to the Home Depot, and they have different sizes of flashing you can get. These happen to be 12 by 24. I was actually looking for an 18 by 18 or a 24 by 24, and every time I went to the store, the 24 by 24 or the 24 by 30 was out of stock, and that thing was, good grief, I went there 5 different times. They still hadn't had it, and it was like almost $30 or $32, and I thought, hey, there's always 2 ways to skin a cat, right? So I thought, what else could I do? I looked around, and even though they didn't have that, they had 12-inch by 24-inch, and those were like $7 a piece. So for 14 bucks instead of 32 bucks, I'm going to fix my little project here, and I'm going to end up cutting this because it's 24 inches long. I only need 18, so I'm not going to waste my whole flashing for there, because I can always use little bits of flashing for shims, for brackets, for you know, different little things. So I'm gonna measure that, I'm gonna cut it, and I'm going to install it, and I'm gonna overlap one of those pieces over that. So overall, I'm gonna have a piece that's 18 inches by 18 inches here. Okay, you want to see me do that, stick around. That's what this video is about. I'm gonna mark it, and I'm gonna show you a tricky way how to mark this too, if you stick around, and I'll show you how to cut it and install it. Alright, so I had to bring all my stuff up here, my nail bag, my drill, some 1.25" drywall screws, just the coarse threaded one, of course my knee pad, and my gloves, and all kinds of stuff. So I'll get set up, and I'll show you how to mark that flashing and cut it. Okay, you can see that. Okay, and first off, this is 24 inches long, and it's 12 inches wide, and I don't need something that long. And the other thing you gotta be careful of when you're using flashing, this will cut you up in a minute. It's almost like a razor. If I were to take my thumb and go like that, I'd cut myself wide open. So I probably should have gloves on. But I'm gonna do this without gloves. And you remember, I only need this piece 18 inches, okay? And I'm gonna just cut off the end. So because I don't really need to waste this, I can use that for something else. So I could mark it with my pencil, and sometimes it's kind of hard to see it with the pencil, you know, and I could use a square or whatever, and I could also use my other flashing as a straight edge if I wanted, you know, like that, and do it with the pencil. And sometimes you can see the pencil, some other times you can't really see it. I could use a felt tip pen. I could even use a screw, a drywall screw, and use that and mark it. Okay, but have you ever seen a little hand square like this? Now this one doesn't happen to have it, okay, but my older one does have it. What does it have on here? This little thing right here that sticks out. Lots of these have it. It's just a little marker, and that's designed to mark sheet metal. Did you know that? And there's your mark. Just that. And there's a nice little line over there I can see. And that's how you mark sheet metal with that. Or I guess I probably could have done it with my drywall screw. And you know, different ways. I just thought you might get a kick out of that. And now I've just got my my cutters. 26 gauge. It's a little stiff, but just lift up on it. I keep my foot on here, lift up, on the piece that I'm cutting to keep it out of the way. And I want to make sure I get it up high enough so it doesn't hit the top of my thumb or something. See all that flashing? I can use that for something else, can't I? Okay. And that piece, let's just get you situated over here. Let's just talk about this here for a minute. I'm not gonna install this just yet, but he said to put it under this a little bit and to let it stick over the edge just a hair, and I'll measure it and everything. But then he said it needs to be 18 inches. Okay, now this isn't 18 inches, is it? It's only 12 inches. So I'm going to cut my other flashing, and I'm going to, before I cut the end off, I'm going to say that's 12 inches, 18 inches, that's a 6-inch piece, right? And so what could I do here? I'm not going to just butt it. I'm going to overlap it. I'll overlap it an inch. Let's just pick a random number, an inch. So I'm going to cut a 7-inch piece. Okay? And so do I have to cut this whole thing? I could cut just 7 inches by 18 inches and leave the whole 24-inch piece, couldn't I? I think that's what I'll do. Because if I cut the 18-inch here, then I'm going to have a little piece like that, and then I'm going to have another little piece, you know, 7 inches. I'm going to have a 5-inch piece. But I might as well have a 5-inch piece that goes all the way up, right? 24 inches long instead of only 18 inches long. Yeah? Lots of ways you can do it. You can do it either way. Doesn't really matter. Okay, so I'm gonna take this and go 7 inches. And because there's light up here, I can kind of see. And 18 inches, because that's what I cut this one at. And 18. And 7 inches. And there's my piece. Okay. Now I can take my 18-inch piece that I just did. I could use that for my straight edge, can't I? Just like that. I can use my pencil, or this time I could use a drywall screw and just mark it like that. That does just as well as that little end piece off of here. I think that was kind of cool. I don't really use that very much. I mean, years ago, that's how people would do things. And, you know, I could use my square, whatever I want, okay? I could use a felt tip pin, anything kind of like that. All right. So now I got to be like, okay, how am I going to cut that? 26 gauge. It's a little stout, but I can do it. I can do it. I can do it. So I'm just going to lift. I'm going to lift this side up so I can cut this. Keep my foot on there. There. Just to there. Now, I gotta raise this side up. And I'm using red handle snips, and those are designed to cut
curves. Did you know that? Did you know there's a difference for the handles? Red handle is designed to cut curves. For a right-handed person, to cut curves to the left, not curves to the right, curves to the left. And then the yellow handle ones are designed to cut straight, but I can cut straight with this one all day long, you know. And then they also, did you know they have green handle ones? And green handle, they could be for a left-handed person, or you know, so a left-handed person can cut curves to the right, and they would cut a curve as circled that way, but I cut it this other way, and I use the red. If you use just straight ones, it's harder to cut the curves and stuff with the yellow handled ones, so I use the red. Okay, and there you go. I've got this piece, and I'm going to overlap it by 1 inch on here. I'm going to make some marks and get set up to install that. Okay, I hope you could see that. I think you could. I'm going to get you over here this time on this side and just see how it goes. And my cut, I'm gonna put my cut underneath this other one. So I'm gonna put some marks on this so I can see it. And oh, I don't know, maybe I'll just use my felt tip Sharpie. And this one Sharpie pen I've had this for years. And I still have it, and it still works. You know why it still works? Because when I keep it in my nail bag, I don't keep it facing straight up. I put it upside down. That way it keeps everything wet and moist where the pin area is. Okay, try that if you're going to carry it in your nail bag. Okay, so I'm gonna hold that right in there, and I don't know how straight this line is out here. 17 and a half. Yeah, see, it's off a little bit, but I don't have to have it perfect, right? I'm gonna line this up, and I think I like that right like that. Okay, I've got it underneath, like he said. In fact, I'm going to push it under a little bit further. I don't want to go too far, but he did say 18 by 18. He said let it stick under a couple inches, so that's what I'm doing, like that. And I've got my impact drill, and I'm just using the 1 1/4 inch, and I've got my scratch awl, and I'm just going to poke a hole here. That's all I got to do to get it started. Okay. That's all. I mean, how hard is that? The guy would have charged me, oh, I don't know, 190 bucks to do this, or whatever it was, because he would have had to have gone to the store and all that good stuff. And now I don't even know if I'm going to go through the double layer. I think I'm not going to. I'm just going to go through the wood. Okay, that's all. That's all I'm going to do. This just starts the hole for me. I mean, you might think, can I just put a drywall screw through flashing Yeah, sometimes, but sometimes it flops over and it's hard to get started. So I just use my scratch awl. Maybe I'll stick a couple more out here. Maybe a couple in here. Is that going anywhere? Heck no. There's my flashing. 18 by 18. See, I didn't set that one all the way. Okay, that's it. That's all I have to do. There's my little project. I told the air conditioning guy I would do that a couple months ago after we moved in, and he said that's really the safest way because when this heater turns on and it's gas, the flames come out, and mind you, they're on the inside of here, but if for any reason something heats up or it spits or something happens, it's nice to have this sheet metal flashing down. I don't know if I should put another screw there where the overlap is. What do you think? You think we should? I guess we can. I don't usually like messing with my, I try to keep my scratch awl as tight, the tip as sharp as possible. And in fact, I think I got a couple nails in my nail bag. Isn't that funny? I got some nails in my nail bag. Usually I don't use nails, but I'll keep them in there. I've got an 8-penny nail. I'm just going to start that. See, look at that. It's even starting to bend the nail. Oh, it's bent it a little bit. Wow. I'll see what I can do. I've got another nail, but let's just see if I can't drive that in there. This one especially right here. See there? And I got some other. I had some other little nails. I always keep stuff in my nail bag. More times than not, I use screws nowadays. When I first started years ago, we didn't have screws. We had screws, but we never used screws for stuff. We use nails for everything for residential. But nowadays, hey, I use my drywall screws for all kinds of stuff. Okay, there's my deal, 18 inches, and it sticks in a little bit, and it's 18 inches because I overlapped that an inch. And there's my project. Cost me what, about $15 instead of $35, $32. Had I got a piece of flashing 24 by 24 or 24 by 30 at the store because they didn't have any 18 by 18, then I still would have had to cut it down. And so there you go. I used that instead. And see, now I've got all this nice flashing for something else. I don't know what. I'll leave it in the garage, or see where I'm at up here in the attic. Got a nice little area. Look at this. I've got all this stuff stacked up here. Probably I shouldn't have anything up here. I don't know. But I'm just going to leave this flashing up here, and when I need it, I got it. Well, that's all I got for this time. But I'll be back with more videos.